Hi, this is Sydney of sydneyreadseverything.wordpress.com, and I have to confess that I did not finish reading Clarissa. Clarissa was on my book list, and it's the first thing on the book list that I didn't finish. It was written by Samuel Richardson in 1748, and it's the longest book in the English language at about 1,489 pages long. I'm going to recap the plot for you really quickly, and I think you'll understand why I didn't finish it. The setup at the beginning of the book is that we have Clarissa, who is this shining, pure paragon of femininity, and she is so well admired that her late uncle left her his entire estate and fortune, leaving nothing to her older brother and sister. Clarissa's family already has a lot of money, which is why our leading man, Lovelace, is sniffing around trying to marry her older sister. But when he meets Clarissa, he thinks, oh, she's so much hotter, I'm going to marry her instead. So the brother and the sister are enraged and jealous. Not to mention that the brother hates Lovelace because of some beef they had back from being in school together. So Clarissa's siblings decide to enact their revenge by turning her family against Lovelace and trying to get her parents to marry her off to the odious Mr. Solmes, who is apparently gross and she doesn't want to marry him. Their plan is very effective. The family does try to force Clarissa to marry Mr. Solmes, and she refuses, and they start to restrict her freedoms. They're also very rude to Mr. Lovelace in their refusal of his suit for their daughter. Lovelace concocts a little ruse and tricks Clarissa into running away with him. Now, in this time period, if you run away with a man, you have to marry him because otherwise you're ruined. But Clarissa doesn't want to marry Lovelace because he's an evil, immoral womanizer type, and he doesn't want to marry her because he is vain and proud, and he can sense that she doesn't love him as much as he wants her to. And he feels very insulted by the way that her family treated him. So he decides he's going to get his revenge on her family by seducing Clarissa outside of wedlock, which is a crazy idea for him to have because the whole point of Clarissa as a character is that she's so virtuous that she would literally rather die than lose her honor by giving it up before marriage. I don't know why he thinks it's going to work. So from there, we have Lovelace's continued attempts to seduce Clarissa and Clarissa's frustrations with him and her unhappiness about her situation stuck with Lovelace. Which brings us to about page 850 of the book. At page 860, Lovelace becomes so frustrated that he's been unable to seduce Clarissa that he decides to drug her and rape her, which he does. And that's where I quit reading because I just don't have the emotional fortitude to read 640 pages of a woman grieving over being raped. Life is too short and I'm not going to put myself through that. I did, however, look into what happens in the rest of the plot, and I can tell you how the book ends. Clarissa is so sad about what has happened to her that she falls into a despondency and dies. Lovelace is filled with remorse over what he did to her, and he gets himself into a duel and loses on purpose and dies. Clarissa's family starts to feel bad about what they did to her, and it's too late. She's already dead, and everyone's sad, sad, tragic ending. And that is the whole plot of Clarissa. George R.R. Martin, who wrote Game of Thrones, could have dispatched that amount of plot in anywhere from 2 paragraphs to 2 chapters. But it took Samuel Richardson 1,489 pages to do it because the book is epistolary, so it's all letters that characters write to other characters. And it's as if he decided he was going to write down every single thought that his characters had over the course of 1 year. That's right. It's almost 15,000 pages, and it's only 1 year worth of events. And if you think about it, in the course of a year, you have the same thoughts quite a few times. So you get the same sentiments over and over and over in Clarissa, and it's just really dull. It's really dull. Richardson's not actually a bad writer. I like the way he turns a phrase. I really do. And I also appreciate that the different characters, when they write letters, have very different writing styles, which seems like a no-brainer, but there's examples of classic literature, say Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, where there's more than one narrator and their voice is exactly the same, which is bothersome to me. It could have been a really good 300-page book, maybe, except that whole element of rape would still make me really unhappy. So yeah, it's a lose. Don't read it. That's my confession for this Sunday. I did not finish reading Clarissa, and I don't feel bad about it. The good news is that if all goes according to plan, tomorrow I will be posting a review of Twin Study by Stacey Richter, which is one of my favorite books of all time, if not my favorite book of all time. So check that out. Bye.